Physical copies or digital downloads, which is really better? It was this question that was pretty much the writing prompt for this video, and seeing as you guys seem to really like the last researchy type video I did like this, I decided to delve deep into the question of, do I want my games on a disc in physical form, or do I want them on my hard drive? What are the advantages and disadvantages of each? Well, today we're going to tackle those questions, so buckle up and let's dive in. Firstly, let's distinguish the differences between our two options. A physical copy of a game usually comes on a disc in a hard format. This is the type of game you'd buy off the shelf at Walmart or GameStop or whatever. Next up, you've got your digital copy. Nowadays, there are tons of places to get a digital copy of a game. You've got Steam, Good Old Games, or GOG for short, EA has Origin, and you've also got sites like G2A and Humble Bundle. These sites or client programs allow you to digitally download a game to your hard drive. So what are the pros and cons? Well, with a disc you have a physical, real-world copy of the game. You more or less have physical proof that you own the content, and the biggest pro to owning a physical copy of the game is that most of the time your game is DRM free. But this is becoming a lot less common lately. Now, you may have heard about DRM, and what you've heard probably hasn't been positive. What you should know is that DRM stands for Digital Rights Management and is a systematic approach to copyright protection of digital media. What this means in layman's terms is that it's essentially an algorithmical system in place to deter pirates, hackers, and other nasty things, but with that we've seen some major drawbacks. Case in point, the biggest problem with DRM is that it requires a server to be running somewhere. Let's take Overwatch for example, since that's the game we're playing in the footage here. Overwatch and pretty much all Blizzard games feature what's called account DRM. You buy access to the game, create an account, and only your account can access your version of the game. So let's say you want to go 50-50 on a copy of Overwatch with you and your buddy. Well, you can both download the game on your own computer, and you can both log into the account that it's registered to, but you can't both play it at the same time. Another example of when DRM failed spectacularly is back in the days of Games for Windows Live. And if you've been around the gaming world long enough, you'll remember that this system was absolute garbage. For example, a video I put together a while ago used footage from an older game called Bulletstorm, which was a Games for Windows Live title. Well, Games for Windows Live was completely abandoned recently, and Bulletstorm needed that program to function. The result? I couldn't play the game anymore. It wouldn't even launch. Thankfully, I was able to find a workaround that let me launch the game without Games for Windows Live. The whole, I guess you could say, moral of the story here is that with DRM being tied to a server, you run the risk of not being able to play that game when the server goes down. There's a DDoS attack, or when the platform is just outright abandoned. Now, getting back on track here, another pro to owning the physical copy of the game is that with a lot of games, you can just lend the copy to a friend without them having to log into your account. For example, my buddy just lent me a copy of Dragon Age Inquisition for the PS4. I don't have to log into his account to play it, all I have to do is put the disc in and let it install, which is pretty convenient. So what are the pros and cons to owning a digital copy of a game? Well, the first and most major pro is, of course, convenience. You can download a game at any time from the comfort of your couch or computer chair. You don't have to worry about driving to Walmart or GameStop in the middle of a snowstorm or any other crappy weather. You click a button, enter your credit card info, and bam, the game is yours. Secondly, if you're using a platform like Steam or GOG, the game automatically updates as well, which is super nice. I remember playing the original Far Cry on my parents' shitty Hewlett-Packard workstation at like 20 frames per second and having to manually go and find each update for the game, download them, and manually install them. It was a massive pain in the ass. Another pro, of course, is storage space. Digital games won't take up room in your house. You don't have to pack them when you move, they can't be stolen off your bookshelf if someone breaks into your house, and if there's a natural disaster like a flood, they won't be destroyed. Your console might get wrecked in a situation like that, but all you have to do is replace that and you've got your whole collection back at the push of a button. Now, on the downside, you can't resell digital games. If you get tired of Overwatch, you can't go back to the store and trade it in towards something else. With digital games, your entire collection pretty much has no value, and back in my avid console playing days when I was a broke high schooler, being able to trade in games was extremely important to me because it was pretty much the only way I was going to get to play a new release. So let's go ahead and sum all of this up. Physical copies are good because you can trade them, sell them, and if they're DRM free, you pretty much own them for life. On top of all that, one thing I forgot to mention was that physical copies sometimes have special editions, which can be dope as hell to get. It can be really cool to have that physical thing. So physical copies of games are bad because they're easily destroyed or lost, cumbersome to store, and in some cases, the games are just a pain to update. On the other side of the argument, digital copies of games are good because they can only take up space on your hard drive, are easily updated, and can be fairly easily recovered if your account is hacked or your devices are destroyed. Digital copies are bad mostly because of DRM and the fact that they have no resale value. They can't be traded or resold. So with this information in mind, let me know in the comments what you guys prefer. Do you like your games on a physical format, or do you like to download them and have them as a digital copy? But that's gonna do it for me today, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned something new, and if you did, leave a like down below to support the video. I also want to let you guys know that I've read a lot of the comments on the previous video I did like this, and you all had some really good suggestions to get to next, and I definitely plan on covering some of those topics, so keep an eye out by subscribing to the channel if you haven't already so you don't miss anything. Until next time though, I'm BouseFeenux, I'll see you at the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.